Here's something worth sitting with. Long before therapy and medication existed, every culture on Earth still had to deal with anxious, racing minds, and they didn't just white-knuckle through it. They reached for specific plants, brewed into teas, chewed, or simply carried, believed to steady a restless mind. Stick around, because number 3 on this list carries a nickname in Chinese medicine that translates roughly to collective happiness bark. And number 16 comes from a plant so dramatically spiked that indigenous communities named it after the devil himself, yet traditionally used it for exactly the opposite reason. By the end of this list, you'll have 20 traditional options worth exploring alongside whatever support already works for you. Number 1. Canna. The succulent South African tribes chewed to ease the mind. The indigenous Khoi and San peoples of South Africa have used canna, a small succulent plant, for centuries, traditionally chewed, smoked, or brewed as a tea to ease tension and lift a heavy mood. Modern researchers have studied its specific plant compounds for their potential effect on mood-related brain chemistry, though traditional use always emphasized small, careful amounts rather than large doses. Number 2. Vetiver root, the fragrant grass Ayurvedic tradition calls tranquility. Vetiver's roots have been distilled and used across Indian herbal tradition for centuries. Valued for their deep, earthy fragrance, believed to have a grounding effect on an overactive mind. Traditionally, the roots were also woven into mats and fans, so that simply sitting near one released a calming scent throughout the day. Number 3. Albizia bark, the tree Chinese medicine nicknamed collective happiness bark. This is the bark I promised you at the start. Traditional Chinese medicine has used the bark of this flowering tree for centuries, brewed into a tea specifically to ease worry and support restful sleep during difficult periods. The tree's delicate, feathery pink blossoms close up every evening, a natural rhythm traditional practitioners saw as symbolic of the calm they hoped the bark would bring. Number 4. Catnip, the herb that calms humans the same way it excites cats. While most people only know catnip for its effect on felines, European and Native American herbal traditions have separately used the same plant, brewed as a mild tea, specifically to calm restless humans rather than energize them. The two opposite effects on cats and people come down to how differently the two nervous systems respond to the same plant compound. Number 5. Rose petal tea, the Persian tradition of drinking fragrance itself. Persian and Middle Eastern households have dried rose petals and brewed them into a delicately fragrant tea for centuries, distinct from the vitamin-rich rose hips harvested later in the season. The ritual of slowly sipping a floral tea was, in many households, as much about the pause it created as the tea itself. Number 6. Suma root, the root Brazilian rainforest communities called para toda, meaning for everything. Indigenous communities across the Amazon basin have used suma root for generations as a broad tonic, believed to help the body adapt to stress of every kind, physical and mental alike. Traditionally, the root was dried and simmered slowly into a strong, earthy decoction. Number 7. Betel leaf, the leaf chewed across Asia for its subtle calming effect. Betel leaf has been chewed, often wrapped around areca nut and lime, across South and Southeast Asia for thousands of years, valued for a mild, warming sensation traditionally associated with easing tension after a long day. It remains deeply woven into social and ceremonial life across the region to this day. Number 8. Poria, the fungus Chinese medicine harvests from beneath pine trees. Poria, known in Chinese medicine as fuling, grows as a fungus on the roots of pine trees and has been harvested for over 1,000 years, dried and simmered into a mild, earthy tea believed to calm the mind and support digestion together. Traditional practitioners considered the connection between a calm gut and a calm mind to be inseparable. Number 9. Ylang ylang, the flower whose fragrance alone was believed to ease the mind. Grown across Indonesia and the Philippines, ylang ylan's intensely fragrant yellow blossoms have been used in traditional ceremonies for centuries, the flowers scattered on newlyweds' beds, specifically for their believed calming, mood-lifting scent. The essential oil distilled from the petals remains one of the most recognizable calming fragrances in traditional aromatic practice. Number 10. Yerba Santa, the leaf California's indigenous communities called holy herb. Native Californian tribes used yerba santa for centuries. Its resinous leaves traditionally brewed into a tea for both respiratory support and easing general nervous tension. The Spanish name given to it by early missionaries, meaning holy herb, reflected just how broadly and highly the plant was already regarded. Number 11. Clary sage, the herb whose scent alone traditional healers relied on. Distinct from common culinary sage, clary sage has a long separate tradition across the Mediterranean. Its fragrant flowering tops traditionally used in aromatic preparations believed to ease tension, particularly around times of hormonal and emotional shift. Its name comes from the Latin for clear, reflecting its old reputation for clearing a clouded, anxious mind. Number 12. Ashoka tree bark, the tree named the sorrowless one in ancient India. Ashoka bark holds deep significance in traditional Ayurvedic medicine, its very name translating to without sorrow, specifically prepared as a decoction traditionally given to women during times of emotional and physical strain. Sacred groves of Ashoka trees were historically planted near temples specifically for their calming presence. Number 13. Neroli, the bitter orange blossom nobility once wore as perfume. Distilled from the blossoms of the bitter orange tree, neroli has been prized across the Mediterranean since the 17th century, when an Italian princess reportedly popularized its use as a personal fragrance believed to calm nerves before court appearances. The blossoms themselves were also traditionally steeped into a mild floral tea. Number 14. Cramp bark, the tree bark named for one use but valued for a broader calming effect too. Native American and European herbal traditions both used the bark of this shrub for generations, primarily for physical tension, but the same relaxing effect on tight muscles was traditionally understood to extend to a tight, anxious mind as well. It's traditionally simmered slowly into a strong decoction rather than a quick tea. Number 15. Sensitive plant, the leaf that physically recoils from touch. Known in India as lajwanti, this small plant's leaves fold inward the instant they're touched, a dramatic reaction that traditional Ayurvedic practitioners associated symbolically with an overstimulated nervous system, using the whole plant in traditional preparations believed to calm exactly that same sensitivity in people. Number 16. Devil's Club, the spiked plant named for its fearsome appearance, used for the opposite reason. This is the plant I promised you earlier. Indigenous peoples of the Pacific Northwest have used devil's club for centuries. Its thick stems covered in sharp spines giving it a fearsome name, despite traditional use of the inner bark as a calming adaptogenic tonic during times of stress and imbalance. Number 17. Wild daga, the flower South African herders traditionally smoked at the end of a long day. Also called lion's tail for its shaggy orange blooms, wild daga has been used across southern Africa for generations, traditionally smoked or brewed as a mild tea specifically at the close of a demanding day. Traditional use always emphasized moderation, given the plant's noticeable effects in larger amounts. Number 18. Cornflower, the bright blue bloom European fields once bordered every farmhouse. European folk tradition has steeped cornflower petals into a delicate, mildly floral tea for generations, its striking blue color alone considered part of the calming ritual of preparing and drinking it slowly. The flower's resilience in poor soil made it a familiar, unassuming presence in nearly every European farming community. Number 19. Bergamot herb, the citrus-scented leaf behind your favorite tea's flavor. Distinct from the actual bergamot orange used to flavor Earl Grey, this North American bee balm relative carries its own citrusy fragrance, traditionally brewed by Native American communities into a calming tea long before European settlers arrived. Its bright red flowers also made it a favorite of early American herb gardens. Number 20. Bee balm, the flower Native American communities and colonial settlers both relied on. And here it is, the flower that closes out this list, also called Oswego tea. Bee balm was traditionally brewed by the Oswego people and later adopted by colonial households after the Boston Tea Party made imported tea scarce, valued specifically for its gentle, calming effect on a restless evening. Fragrant flowers like ylang ylang and neroli for a calming ritual, grounding roots and barks like vetiver and albizia for something deeper, and gentle everyday teas like bee balm and cornflower for any ordinary evening. Canna and wild daga carry real effects in larger amounts, so start small, and none of this replaces professional care if anxiety is genuinely affecting your daily life.